Starting?
Yeah, we'll start.
Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you for joining us to celebrate International Women's Day. This year the theme for our discussion is Give to Gain, which reflects the idea that investing in others through leadership, mentorship, support and collaboration often leads to growth not only for individuals but for the entire organisation. Today we're fortunate to hear from one of our very own, one of our most experienced and inspiring leaders as they share insights from their career journey and the lessons they've learned along the way and how supporting others has shaped their leadership. We'll spend time having a conversation with Cellina, our Chief Financial Officer, and we'll also open the floor for questions, so have a think and we'll leave some time at the end. To start us off, Cellina, can you share a brief overview of your career journey and the key moments that shaped where you are today?
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. So I obviously joined FSA a long time ago in 2001. 2001. So I have been here for 25 years. I joined here as a junior graduate accountant in the early days. I did work very, very hard at that time, because when I get out of uni and I set a goal for myself where I wanted to be in my career at that time already. I had a goal for 10 years, for 5 years, and 3 years. And I was doing a second master's degree at the same time, and I worked until 9 o'clock every single night on the day I don't need to go to uni. Because when I was young, my only driven was I'm going to put every energy I have now to work. I don't know what I will be like when I'm getting older, when I have family, but now all of the time I have is invest in my own career, in my own development. I also kept the way of continuous learning and curious and taking challenges, and I never say no to any opportunity that may surface in front of me. First time was because the type of my role, year-end is important. And I felt it's about responsibility to your job. Yes, I can tell the Chief Financial Officer back then say, try to find someone to fulfill my role, but he may get challenges at that time because I given birth March and April, very close to financial year end. So I offered to come back to work. And the company has been very, very nice and helping me to be able to do it. I was catching taxi, office, home twice a day to feed my son, and I'm still work until 9 or 10 every single night during July and August. So when I had my daughter, and it was one day I was sending my daughter, my mom and I was sending my daughter to this 2 weeks doctor checkup. I got a phone call from Tim and Deborah go, oh, Cellina, are you on the phone with me? Oh, by the way, Deborah's here too. Oh, I go, did I lose my job? That's the first thing that come up to my mind. I go, no, don't be stressed. We wanted to ask, can you come back to work or not? As soon as possible, because we just lost our Chief Financial Officer. And I asked them to give me a day to talk with my family, and my family was very, very supportive. And so we were living in Chatswood, and then my family made the decision. We quickly moved back to city, so I can work and also feed the baby at the same time. So I came. My daughter was born came back 6 weeks. My daughter was born 15th of April. I was back in the office on the 1st of July, and carry out the entire financial year and the annual report production while I hand over with old CFO. And over the years, obviously, we worked throughout the way. We developed our finance team. We had an offshore accounts team. And I feel one of the most importantly over the years is personally, I continue to learn, and I encourage everyone around me, my team, to learn. And you work hard, and you know you will be rewarded along the way. And you make your team awarded as well. So it's not only about yourself, it's about we all develop together. And also, I never think my idea is the best idea. every year finance team have opportunity for everyone to make suggestion. no matter big or small. It's not about what I tell them what the procedure is. I force everyone, this is in the performance review, I force everyone to give me feedback on how can we improve our process and the procedures. Because I no longer the frontline workers. I don't know the day-to-day work as good as my staff. So I encourage everyone to tell me, what can we do to help you to become more efficient? What problems you have when you're dealing with other teams. Yeah, that made me where I am today. I am very also fortunate and thankful that Tim and Deborah trusted on me, give me opportunities. But when opportunity come to me, and I will never say no, I will just put my head down and take it. And that is called, sometimes you stay out of your comfort zone. So trust yourself and give all of your best. Yeah.
Okay, I think you answered a few of my other questions as well. That's okay. Very impressive. What does the theme Give to Gain mean to you in the context of leadership and career growth?
Give to gain. First of all, I think we want to talk about what's your definition of gain. I think at the early stage of everyone, at a different stage of the career, I believe everyone have a different definition of what is your gain. For me, at the early time of my career, it's about promotion. It's about recognition. What else? And on the later time of the career, then again, credibility, again, respect from the team and from the others. Then how do I get there? It's not only about how well you do your own job. It's about trust others. I think work with others, invest your time with others. I had a very difficult time before I appointed the previous financial controller. I was working very, very long hours. Very, very long hours to get job done to the standard I want. After 6 months, I realized that is not sustainable. I cannot do everything by myself. It's impossible. I drown myself into the endless work. And I start to thinking, I actually have to upskill my entire team to help me. I can't do this alone. I then had another even harder 6 months because I don't just have to maintain the work, I also have to train and teach them. And handhold them on how did I do it? How are you doing it? And we talk and I suggest and see them take on new tasks. Then in fact, once you let it go, you will see people have more ability than what you can imagine. You have to trust them and you have to go through the hell yourself because you have to maintain, you have to teach. But after that 6 months, I feel so relieved because now I have much more upskilled team who can work together. Another thing I think with my working with my team is I do not tell them why we need, why I don't just tell them I need you to do that. I ask them, do you understand why we need to do this? So I think explaining to people why you need them to do something is very important. So they are not a computer, not a robot, just do what you've been told. You make them a thinker. They understand what you do. They understand how their work will affect others. And then they are more conscious in their own work.
Well, you've named a few, but do you have any other practical ways leaders can give more, whether that's time, knowledge, or opportunities to help others grow?
As I said, so for example, time is a difficult thing for me right now. And I do block my calendar. People probably don't know. And when I found a very, very struggle during busy time, I tell them, this is 2 periods. You come to me for questions. I absolutely will drop everything and answer your question during those 2 periods. And otherwise, I would just tell them to go away. Because I don't like interruption with my own work. Some of my work needs a very long concentration, and I found it very difficult for me to do it. And I come down the weekend when I have those big things I need to do myself. knowledge, as I said, is about explaining the reason behind the thing. I think make sure they understand, I drill on them. If I explain, I will say, did you understand this? Do you understand this? Say yes, then tell me how you understand it. Don't just take yes as a yes.
And what mindset or habit has helped you continue growing throughout your career?
Habit or
Mindset.
mindset. Curious, always wanted to learn, always want to become a better myself. And I think the important skill everyone probably need to have is prioritization skills and time management skills. I think that's probably more important than about just getting things done. A team criticized me last year. He go, why you are not doing my things? I said, because I don't prioritize you. Because I prioritize my team's request over yours. He said, but my request is more important. So very quickly, I shifted how I prioritize my own task. I start prioritizing his requests over my team's day-to-day inquiry. So I think also openness with everyone and accepting criticizing, be open-minded and ready to make a change.
Do you recall the most valuable advice you have received early on in your career?
I got many. I had a very good
Just
mentor.
one.
Yeah, I got a very good mentor at my first job back in China. There was once a case. So I was doing international trade with all like big pharmaceutical companies. So there was once I drafted a contract. And then I told my boss, I said, oh, I think this is wrong. I think they are wrong in this contract. He told me, he said, before you question others, you really have to double check you have not made a mistake. Because he said, I knew this woman in the company. In my 5 years of dealing with her, she has never made a single mistake. I was very impressed with that. That tells me how important is your credibility. It turned out I was wrong. She was right. I did not check my work properly. I start questioning others first. So if you want credibility, you need to build to it. Before you question others, question yourself.
You just mentioned a mentor. What role has mentorship played in your leadership journey?
Oh, for me being a mentor?
No, for other mentors.
What
To
you mean?
you, your mentors.
Oh yes, I had many. Obviously, I mentioned one mentor at my first job when I was back in China. Then I had a team and Deborah. They are very two distinct mentors. And I learned different things from them. And I think, for example, Deborah, she can be, the good thing is open communication. So they know my personality. I'm very black and white. Even I with my team many years ago, when I talk to someone, I can be very blunt and strict. But I tell them, if I do that, that's because I just want to get the points to you. There's nothing personal. So when Tim and Deborah tells me things, for example, they can be very open to me. Just say, Cellina, the way you speak is not right. The way you communicate with people needs to be improved. The way you do this, I need you to improve. Oh, trust and open communication. I believe that is very important. Yeah.
Awesome. And how can employees create stronger support networks in the workplace?
We can't be friends with everyone, but I think be friend with everyone at the work is important. Just care about just every day. I really like some people do every day. They come say hello to everyone they see, have a few chat in the kitchen, talk about their own life, and support each other. And also, I think one thing I learned over the years is understand everyone have a family. Understand the family is important to them. Support them not at work, support them outside of work as well. Yeah.
On that note, we're going to change tune a little bit. Cellina, you've shared some great insights about leadership and supporting others. A big part of many people's journey, as well as your own, is balancing work with family life. You've managed to build an incredibly impressive career while raising 2 children. How did you navigate this while continuing to grow in your career, and what helped you make that balance work?
Okay, there's one thing I have to mention. Might not work for everyone. I do have a family support. So from the moment I'm pregnant, my parents moved to Australia. So for my entire career, I do have my parents behind my back. And like what I said, when I went back to work very early, sometimes my mom delivered the baby to the office for me to feed. That kind of support I had from my family. So family support, I think, is important, and the work-life balance. And we are very fortunate working for a company that really care about work-life balance. But for us, I think to gain the work-life balance is also important for our employer, for our boss to know, when I have this flexibility, I will deliver. I believe every boss will give the flexibility when you can deliver. Yeah.
Did you ever feel disadvantaged in your career because of taking time out for raising children?
I
Like you said, you just had
I didn't take much time out. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. So that doesn't really apply to me. I took like 1.5 months out. Like Lamara, she worked until the day she gave birth. Yeah, I worked until the day I was rushed to the hospital too. Yeah, so I think we are like very dedicated workers. Yeah.
For women, I suppose, that don't have that family support and have to take that time off, how would you say, how can they stay relevant in their workplace and keep their job, or, you know, when they actually have to be at home looking after their baby?
So I'm not the best person to answer that question. If I'm in that shoe, I will plan ahead before I have children. So I will plan ahead, communicate with my boss, and also have a plan in place if I want to continue to strive in my career. I think I will only take a maximum 6 months off, and I will come back to work part-time. Because you can't really come back to work until you have the children sorted out, isn't it, these days? So I will plan everything ahead, have a plan for my career if that's what I want to strive, not to my family. So everyone's choice is different. Some people want to go back to look after the family, want to go back to raise their children. I just made different decisions. Yeah.
Looking back, how did becoming a parent shape your leadership style or the way you support others in the workplace?
Actually, these two things I think that related. When I was raising my children, I did one thing, is empowering my kids to make their own decision. I think that made them better themselves today. So for example, my son, since year 7, I forced him to make every single decision himself. And it's fine for him to fail. It's fine for him to make a mistake at the early stage. And then I thought about my team. Same thing. I need to empower my team member to speak up for their own work, to speak up what is currently not right in our process, how they wanted to change. And not only that, that makes them more confident worker. So accounts have like a team meeting twice a week. We actually have a different people chair that meeting every week. So that gives each one of them opportunity to be a leader, even just to chair a meeting, but to really have to organize. Someone have to take a minutes to do something they might have to do one day. That's just the first step of training.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. I will open up to the floor if anyone has any questions for Cellina.
Yes.
In terms of the leadership, or sorry, the mentorship style of Tim and Deb, what would be the stark difference between the two different styles?
Very different style. Everyone would know. Deb, I would think Deborah is a more people person. Tim is more process result driven person. I learned a lot from Deborah on how to interact with people. The reason there's a culture background difference for me, very different. The culture I grew up with and how Australian culture works. I almost learned that all from Deborah. No, it wasn't naturally. So we had a management training. I was trained how to sit when you talk to people, and she would point it out to me, Cellina, you just too brutal when you were talking to someone like that, because that's how I grew up in China. At the company set, the boss is the boss. You just criticize people to get the work done. You push them to get work done. You don't need to care. Like in China, it's a very different environment. And my parent was in the management position too, so I was grew up in that kind of, I do what I've seen, which is complete different culture from what Australian culture is. It's more natural, person more friendly. I worked out that when you talk to people in a more friendly way, it's actually better. You make more friends, because there's once FS organized a management training. There was a reflection. And I reflected on what I did was wrong, and I tried to make change. I approached to the staff who I think I have not communicated with them well. I went to the staff say, if sometimes I talk to you in my ways to straightforward way, but you take differently, I want you to know that it was never personal. It was because of me. It was not talk to you properly, and I want to change. I want you to tell me every single time if you feel I'm too brutal. That staff actually still here today, and then I felt that staff talked to me differently since then. Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
I've got one for both of you. What woman has inspired you most in your life, and what have you learned from them?
Oh, you can think about yours. I think about
Mine's probably a bit more of a personal one. My mum. She was very resilient, had a very rocky relationship, and was still super hardworking, still showed up, worked 7 days a week, had her own business. So I think that built financial resilience in me and work ethic. Cellina, over to you.
Yeah, like just by thinking about it, I would think that person is also my mom. She had a very busy work, and she had to juggle between family and the kids and everything, housework, everything together over the years. So I think the fact I'm a hard worker now because I've seen what my mom did back then. Yeah, definitely.
Great.
Yeah.
Anyone else? And it's for Cellina, not me.
Last one. What do you do when you're not working?
Just dealing with the kids matters. I am serious. When I finish this work, I have a second job, which is all about my kids and and cooking. I cook a lot. I enjoy cooking. So if I find any spare time, I actually have a cake making decoration certificate. I have so many certificates. I had, the British, I don't know, called the Blue Ribbon cake decoration certificate. I did all of them.
So you're going to bring a cake for us?
I brought many cakes to my team. When I was making Japanese chiffon cake, I was bringing one every single day over my field one. So they had 13 days of chiffon cake. And I have a ski instructor certificate too. What else I do? I play sport. So when my health allowed me, I play badminton twice a week. Then just kids stuff every weekend.
I don't know how you fit it all in. Anyone else have any questions? Crystal.
I guess you mentioned that you have a daughter. Her going into the workforce and growing up, what would be your one piece of advice for her?
So my daughter is year 10 now. If she is going to the workforce, okay, so I actually have given this advice to some of my current staff members when they just joined the company, and I always say, when you are young, between your 20 to 30s, invest every single minute in your work. This is a time you can really focus on grow your career without much interruption. Just lock in, that should be your priority than anything else. And then once you have family, I think a family is your priority. Yeah. I just want to say, if you don't have a stable, if you don't have your all family matters under control, I think your work will be impacted. That's why as at a different stage of the life, my priority obviously will shift. Yeah, but doesn't mean that when you prioritize your family, you don't get your work done. You're still gonna get your work done. But before my 30s, I have no personal life. All I have to is educate myself and work. Once I have children, then I need to make sure my kids are well looked after. Then my kids all understand I work on the weekends. They get used to it. Yeah.
Any other questions? No?
No.
I've got a backup question.
Oh.
Was there, in case no one asked any, was there a particular opportunity, challenge or risk that accelerated your growth?
I think it's when I had that CFO position and I took it on without hesitating. I don't know what the woman will do in the room when that comes to me. You only giving birth 2 weeks. So you have a promotion opportunity in front of you, but you only have a newborn baby, I don't know. So I did went to another International Women's Day, a similar situation with another company organized it, and their CEO was there sharing the same thing. She had a very similar situation with me, giving birth, come back to work. She came back to work 4 weeks after birth. And yeah, but we both had a family support, so that's a different.
Amazing. Does anyone else have any last questions before we wrap up? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Cellina, for being so open. Your career journey is definitely inspiring, and hopefully some people took some stuff away from this. But yeah, thank you, and feel free to eat some morning tea.
Thanks, everyone, for the opportunity.